guys, here we're gonna do, I guess what we'll call the twin disc challenge that Joel and Jay have made so popular. So I got my foot out the window here. I got my two helpers with me, and we're going to go up into the garage. All right. So I'm actually on the driveway too, which is an incline, so that adds a nice little twist to it. So here we go. Yeah, you gonna put your foot out the window? Okay. If you want. Alright, here we go. I gotta take my hand off the e-brake here because I'm on an incline and I'm only using one pedal. No problem. Alright. No big deal.
Why did you need to put that up to stop?
Yes, my foot's on the clutch. Alright. Good job. Thumbs up. Hey guys, Brandon here. Happy 4th. Headed up north to the cabin, but thought I'd recap real quick some of my thoughts and my initial impression on my Grannas Magnum swap that I just finished up this morning. So my car, I got a 92 SC300. I had the CD009, had the Grannas 88 diff in it. For various reasons, I decided I was done with the CD009, wanted to move on to the T56. And one of the big reasons was the clutch. So my car is a street car. I was at the point where I needed a twin disc, and the twin disc that I got was a Quartermaster 8.5 inch for the CD009 setup, and it was not, I was not happy with it. It did not drive friendly at all on the streets. It was so aggressive. The whole car would shake leaving from a stop sign. It ruined the enjoyment for me, to be honest. I didn't even enjoy driving the car anymore, and it's not a race car, it's a street car, so what am I doing if I don't even want to drive it on the street anymore? So that was one of the big factors, and Joel's kit kind of promised a much better driving experience from that perspective. So I bit the bullet and got his kit. So what I ended up doing, well, I spent several weeks going back and forth with him, trying to work out the details to figure out exactly what I should order, what made sense for me. And he put in the effort to do that. You know, he spent weeks back and forth with me, figuring it out, you know, adjusting his invoices, figuring out exactly what made sense for me, what I was after, my budget, etc. And what I ended up with was the GR700 kit with the Comp Stage 3 twin disc. So that's, you know, I'll note I also went back and forth with Comp quite a bit. Even spoke with them on the phone, and they were super nice, super helpful. They helped me decide on which clutch to go with as well. So their Stage 3 twin disc rated at 850 torque. One thing to note, Comp rates their clutches at the wheels. So when I was talking to them and saying, all right, 850 torque, you know, so what's that at the wheels, you know, 775? And they're like, no, that 850, first off, that's a conservative number, and it's wheel torque. So if you're making 850 at the wheels, this clutch is perfect for you because it's conservative and it's rated at the wheels. So one thing to keep in mind if you're looking at their kits. So I finally placed the order, and everything from Joel showed up in like less than a week. And then about a week later, the transmission showed up, which I think is drop shipped from down south. But so you know, that was my first positive experience, and it might sound trivial, but I've been dealing with the CD009 stuff for a long time. I was one of the first, if not the first, SC300 with the CD009 in it. So it's pretty normal to order something and wait months for some of the parts, and everything shows up partial shipments. Sometimes they're incomplete, parts are missing. Sometimes just the parts are wrong. And as a customer, it's just not a very fun experience to take a day off of work and get an hour into the swap and there's a piece missing or there's a wrong part and you're dead in the water and you completely wasted your day off of work because you can't continue because there's a missing seal or the wrong size bolts were included. So, Joel's stuff all came quickly and it came actually complete. There weren't parts missing and everything was actually even kitted. He puts everything into these little baggies. Everything's kitted, labeled. Here's your bolts for your bell housing, your transmission. Here's your starter bolts. Here's your shifter components. Here's your pilot bearing. Everything's just kitted and organized. And he has a checklist that he puts on the top of his shipment, so you can tell he did his own little QC inspection before anything left his shop. Matter of fact, I thought something was missing, and Joel had me go back and check my checklist, and it was checked off. And sure enough, it was in there in a baggie I just didn't see. So it was really nice to see that level of attention to detail, and that much detail went into just the bolts and the washers. So if he's spending that much effort on the small things, it just makes you feel really good about the whole kit in general, about the amount of effort and attention to detail that went into the whole kit as well. So, alright, so everything showed up on time. I got it installed. Joel was really helpful. Any questions I had, I could just email him and he could reply back. I got this email that's probably 90 emails long of the back and forth between me and him over the past month or so. So I got the whole kit installed. I dropped my differential out of there because it was geared with 327s for the CD009 setup, and this is my Grannas 8.8 kit. So what I want to point out real quick on the 8.8s is what was nice was I was able to just drop that differential out, get it rebuilt. Well, I got it re-geared with Ford 410s, $250 out the door, $250. That's parts and labor. I was re-geared with 410s. And that, to me, is the beauty of the 8.8. You pay a little bit up front because you got to pay for the mounting kit, right? The cage, the cross member, you got to pay for the axles. But once you're done, you have this just universal Ford differential setup. So if you ever need to rebuild it, re-gear it, do anything, parts are just so accessible, parts are cheap, it's just such a versatile setup that you're kind of just set up for the future, So I swapped in my new 410 setup and I fired it up for the first time last night and everything was good. My first impression was actually how quiet it was. So coming from the CD009 world, a lot of the clutch and flywheel options are kind of a lighter weight setup. So what you end up with is a lot of noise. The transmission makes a lot of noise. And that's just, it's not really a problem, it's just noisy, right? I think that's just part of the CD009. They came with like this heavy dual mass flywheel from the factory. Once you start going to lighter weight stuff, I think you just hear that gear noise. And anyway, with this new transmission, with my new comp setup, which is really meant to be a heavier, street-friendly setup, there's no noise. That noise is gone. So that was kind of a welcome change right off the bat. I'll mention too, I'm running it with the Tilton hydraulic throwout bearing and the Tilton 7/10 master cylinder. So I got the clutch bled, took it on a test drive this morning, just around the block real quick, and to me, this was the moment to find out if this was worth it or not, because again, for me, it all came down to the drivability. And let me tell you, it did not disappoint. Holy cow. I can't even quantify the difference of this versus my old setup. Man, it drives so much better. The old setup, it was so grabby, it was so aggressive, the car would shake. This one, it drives like stock, and this is like an 850 torque twin disc setup, and it drives like stock. I mean, it reminds me of that video of Jay from Real Street where he had his foot hanging out the window. It drives that nice. It is incredible. I can't even explain. I feel like I'm really happy with my clutch choice. Thanks again to Joel and to Comp for helping me choose this clutch. Super happy with it. On my test drive, you'll see that video here in a little bit. I just drove around the block. I didn't even get above third gear, and I didn't even get my RPMs that high or get on it at all. But the transmission shifted real nice. I just have a really cheap concoction of literally the cheapest Dex 3 ATF I could find at my local fleet farm, and I also threw in a quart of the Pennsylvania Synchro Mesh. But kind of the idea is that I'm going to change that out after a few tanks of gas. I'm just using it for braking, and I got some AMs I'm putting in. But even with this, budget concoction I threw in there, the transmission shifted really nicely. So far, just really happy with the kit. Really happy with my experience with Joel and Grannas Racing, and hopefully, as I continue to drive this car, I'll just continue to be as pleased as I am right now, initially, my initial impression. So thanks, Joel. So anybody else who's interested in this swap, I highly recommend you get a hold of Joel. His kit, top-notch, customer service is top-notch, and really can't say enough good stuff about him and the kit. So if you're looking for a kit, hit him up.
Hey guys, so finished up the Grannas T56 swap, I think. So I got the car fired up, got the clutch bled after a little issue with my master, but I think we're good to go. So I'm gonna go on my first test drive here and get it on tape. So if it goes good, or if it goes bad, it'll be on tape. So here we go. I got the Grannas shifter on there, and my old auto bezel didn't work, so I bought this nice new carbon one from our friends Ren and Chen. So thanks guys for that. Put this up here in my holder. Okay, let's see what happens. One thing to note is I didn't hook up the speedometer yet, but I have my speed down here on my BTI gauge, so I'm not too worried about that for now. Guess that's reverse? Oh yeah, that's reverse. Oh, this clutch is already 100 times better than my old clutch. Clutch isn't noisy at all, like my old one was noisy. Maybe there's an ever so slight noise you can hear, but that would be me being really nitpicky. Holy cow, that clutch is 100 times better than my old clutch. Pedal a little bit there. The release is kind of low to the floor, but that's all right. rated at like 800 torque or something like that. And it literally drives almost like stock. That is incredible. Coming from my old CD009 Quartermaster twin. I'm gonna have to adjust the pedal a little bit, but that's okay. First test drive. It can't be perfect. That drives damn near stock. Or that slips damn near stock. Tractor. I'm just gonna come up here and turn around. That was pretty much all I was intending to do was quick drive around the block. Transmission shift's pretty nice. I didn't do anything special for fluid. I literally bought the cheapest fluid I could find, which was some Citgo Dex 3 from Fleet Farm. And I put in 3 quarts of that and 1 quart of Pennzoil Synchro Mesh. But the idea is I'm going to be draining this out after a few tanks of gas anyway, just for braking. But even with this ultra cheap concoction, basic shifting right now, smooth as can be. This is on the 8.8 with 410s. Really, I can't. I mean, this was just a pretty simple drive, but feels like pretty good ratio. Doesn't feel all that different at first than my old CD009 with 327s. Getting back up my driveway was always torture with the old setup, with the whole car just jerking and shaking with the Quartermaster. That was no big deal. Okay, well, I call that a success.